She'll never tell you what really turns her on, because she doesn't fully know, but her body knows, her breath knows, her silence knows, and once you learn to speak to that part of her, you stop chasing and start pulling her in without lifting a finger. This isn't about looks, not charm, not money. It's about influence. It's about the 10 laws buried beneath her logic, the ones that bypass her mind and rewire her craving. Most men operate on the surface, but you're not most men. You're here to go deeper, to see what's hidden, to become what she can't resist, even if she tries. So listen carefully, because after this, you'll never touch her the same way again, and she'll never forget you. Number 10. Always leave her wanting more. There's a moment in every interaction where the tension peaks, the eyes linger, and her breath slows. Not because you touched her, but because you didn't. That's the moment you leave, because the most seductive men don't give more, they give less, but leave echoes in her mind that expand in the silence. You see, the human psyche is wired to crave what's incomplete. We remember the song that never finished. We obsess over the kiss that never came, and she rewinds you in her mind again and again until you become a loop she can't escape. This is how legends are made, not by saturation, but by strategic absence. When you master the art of retreat, your absence echoes louder than another man's presence. You don't need to explain, you don't need to promise. You only need to imprint a sensation and disappear. And that void, it doesn't close, it deepens until the only thing that can fill it is you. Pull back at the peak, withdraw at the height. Vanishing becomes your seduction. And in that space between fulfillment and denial, desire is born, fed, and multiplied. 9. Seduce all 5 senses. She doesn't crave words, she craves texture. Because when you speak to her ears, she listens. But when you speak to her nervous system, she obeys. True seduction doesn't ask for attention, it pulls it. Through a scent she can't name but can't forget. Through a tone that turns her breath uneven. Through presence that bends the air around you. You must never approach her body directly. You approach her perception. You become the shadow that brushes her skin without touching, the stillness that enters before your words ever do. Let her feel you in the weight of your silence. Let your voice slow her pulse. Let the way you move alter the rhythm of her thoughts. Once you've entered through her senses, logic dissolves, boundaries blur, and now, even when she's alone, her body continues the conversation. She may not remember the facts, but she will remember the feeling of you in every scent, every sound, every quiet room. You didn't seduce her body, you seduced her reality. That's how it begins. 8. Awaken her feminine by living in your masculine. A woman cannot surrender to chaos. She only softens for certainty. And that certainty must live in your breath, in your stillness, in the way your eyes say, "You are safe to fall." The feminine is not tamed by talk. She is claimed by presence, by the calm that does not flinch when tested, by the energy that commands without noise. She does not trust the man who reacts. She trusts the one who remains. Because her storm doesn't want a match, it wants structure. And the moment you try to fix her, you fail her. The moment you try to prove yourself, you shrink. But the moment you stop explaining and simply decide, she follows. The feminine doesn't open to promises. She opens to power. And power doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flinch. It leads. The more grounded you become, the more wild she becomes. Because now she feels the one thing she can't resist, a man who cannot be moved. Her surrender is not given. It's drawn out by your depth. And when you stop wavering, she stops resisting. That's when the storm becomes yours. 7. Don't reveal everything. Remain a beautiful mystery. The moment she understands you, the game ends. Seduction thrives on uncertainty, on curiosity without conclusion, because the mind chases what it can't define. And when she thinks she's figured you out, her fascination dies. But when she senses that there's more beneath the surface, layers she hasn't touched, truths she hasn't earned, she becomes addicted to the unfolding. You don't need to lie. You don't need to pretend. You simply need to withhold enough to create ache. Be clear, but not complete. Speak with depth, but not exposure. Give her a glimpse, and then close the door. Let her imagination do the rest. Let her questions multiply in silence. Let her wonder what else you're not saying. The seductive man is not mysterious because he hides. He's mysterious because he reveals slowly, deliberately, with restraint. And in every pause, in every unanswered moment, she leans in further. Because mystery isn't distance, it's gravity in disguise. And when she feels the pull of what she doesn't know, she comes closer, again and again and again. 6. Master eye contact until she looks away. Most men glance, some stare, but only a few know how to command with silence through their gaze. Because true eye contact isn't visual, it's energetic intrusion, a silent force that pierces past her words, past her mask, into the place where her guard can't reach. When your eyes don't flinch, when your pupils hold hers with quiet certainty, she starts to feel seen, read, stripped, without being touched. And in that stillness, she shifts. She looks away not because she's disinterested, but because she felt penetrated without contact. Your gaze must be slow, still, unshaken, as if you already know what she's hiding, and you're simply waiting for her to reveal it. This is not a stare. This is a claim, a hypnotic anchor that bypasses logic and implants suggestion. Let your silence speak louder than her nervous smile. Let your pupils deliver what your hands haven't yet. Let your stillness say, you're not in control anymore. And when she finally looks away, you've already entered. 5. Use emotional tension loops. She doesn't fall for comfort. She falls for contrast, the rise and the drop, the warmth and the edge. That's where the craving is born. Not in what you give, but in what you almost gave. Because her mind isn't wired for peace. It's wired for pursuit. The moment you become predictable, she forgets. But when you make her feel, then pause, touch her emotionally, then disappear. You create a loop she can't close. She replays it, analyzes it, feels it expanding, even in silence. This is not confusion. This is chemical seduction. You create the rhythm. You control the tempo. You let her feel full, then take back the final piece. Now her body remembers you as an ache, not a man, a pattern she can't break. And when that loop reopens at night, when no one's watching, her mind returns to you. Not because of what you gave, but because you left her suspended in a craving that never lands. This is the secret most men never learn. Pleasure fades, but tension multiplies. And when you master that rhythm, she doesn't just want you, she needs relief from you. 4. Make her earn your full attention. When you give your attention to a woman too easily, she starts to believe it means nothing, because what is always available is never valued. Most men give it away hoping to be noticed, but the seductive man makes her notice when he doesn't. Your attention must feel rare, precise, powerful. When you look at her, speak to her, or really listen, it should feel like a spotlight just turned on. But when you pull away, that light should go out. And in that moment, she feels the shift. She wants it back. This is the silent trigger of desire. She begins working to win what you never gave freely. You don't ignore her. You don't play games. You just move like your focus has value. Because when your attention becomes something she has to earn, she holds it tighter. She respects it more. She starts chasing what once chased her. And that's when you flip the power. Your presence no longer follows her. It leads her. 3. Be the calm in her chaos. She doesn't want to lead. She wants to collapse into something stronger, something still, something real. Her chaos is not a problem. It's a signal, a test, a storm designed to find out. Can you hold me when I can't hold myself? She doesn't ask with words. She asks by shifting moods, by pushing buttons, by bringing fire. Most men react. They meet fire with fire. They try to fix, explain, defend. And in that moment, she loses faith. But you remain, unchanged, unbothered, unshaken. Because the calm man doesn't argue with storms. He lets them pass. No tension, no weakness, just presence so rooted it pulls her back into her body without saying a word. You are not there to control her. You are there to be what she can't shake. And when she finally exhales, when her breath matches yours, when her body realizes it's safe to drop the armor, that's when she gives you the one thing. No game, no compliment, no tactic can win. Submission without force. Not because you conquered her, but because you never left your throne. 2. Penetrate her mind before her body. If you touch her body before her mind, she'll forget you. But if you enter her mind first, you live there. Because the most sensitive part of a woman is not between her legs. It's between her thoughts. Her arousal doesn't begin with your hands. It begins with what you say and how you say it. Speak slowly, with depth, with pause. Let your words drip. Let your silence linger. You don't rush to impress. You guide her inward, into parts of herself she forgot were even there. Say what no one else sees. Say what pierces. Say what makes her feel exposed and safe at the same time. Because the man who understands her, without her needing to explain, he becomes the one she can't forget. Not because he touched her body, but because he touched something inside her identity. Number 1. Do not chase. Create gravity. The second you chase her, you've already lost her. Because what runs toward her, she runs from. But what pulls her in without moving, owns her. The seductive man never pursues. He positions, he radiates, he waits, like a planet waits for moons. Because gravity isn't loud, it isn't needy, it simply exists. And everything around it responds. You don't text first. You don't explain your value. You don't audition. You become so rooted in your own energy, so focused on your path, so dialed into your purpose, that her curiosity becomes obsession. Now she checks your story. Now she rereads your messages. Now she feels your absence like silence in a storm. And the more she leans in, the less you chase. Because you were never chasing, you were building pull. Seduction doesn't come from movement. It comes from still power, from certainty without explanation, from presence without pursuit. Let her orbit, let her spiral, let her wonder. Because the man who never chases is the man she never stops chasing. You've just been handed the map she'll never admit exists, but her body follows it, every time. And now, so do you. Because this wasn't a video. This was an upgrade, a quiet rewiring of how you show up, how you lead, how you're remembered. Most men chase. You create gravity. Most impress. You invade memory. So hold this, walk different, speak less, and let her feel the shift, without ever knowing why. Subscribe to the Stoic Architect. Return, rewire, rise again. Because the next spell we drop won't just change the way she sees you, it will change who you are.